that this time together with you will be very meaningful. My desire for the next 40 minutes or so, or 35 to 40 minutes, is for you to think about stress, and as we talk, think about yourself in terms of stress. We're hoping that when you leave here today, you have tools to improve. How many of you feel like you're really stressed out?
Oh, I know I am.
Okay, all right. How many of you feel like piece of cake? I have it all under control. Okay, so I think we're all in the same boat. We're all in the same boat. The desire today is to look at the way God created us. He created us physically, mentally, and spiritually. And you cannot be totally stress-free unless all three of those components are balanced. Stress is both positive and negative. It's a fact. You're born with stress. Stress is a factor in life that you have to address or deal with. And so there's two kinds. There's positive and negative. And what you want to do is always hold on to the positive, and you want to understand how to work with the negative. Interesting enough, there are types of stressors, and here are some examples. Your lifestyle, if you're threatened. Now, for those of you who understand fight and flight, the fight and flight of stress is you are so stressed out, your body's going to do one or two things. It's either going to run away from the problem or it's going to fight the problem. And so that's the word threat there. Frustration from dealing with stress. Physical stressors could be your actual body. It could actually be the house that you live in or the environment. Environmental stressors could be pollution. So there's stressors that come from all different areas of our life, and we have to be able to walk through our journey with all of this bombarding us. And God initially had a plan that we would not have to deal with it in the manner that we are faced with today. So I'm going to pop over here. We all have a story. We all have a stress story, and it's called My Story. In My Story, you have friends. Everyone has friends, or should have friends. Everyone has hopes and dreams. Everyone has to deal with sexuality in one form or the other. Spirituality, work, beliefs, values, these all make up your story. And your story is like a flower blooming. And so some of us, if we're really stress-laden, our blooming flower may be wilted, it may be missing petals, it may be really fragmented, and God's plan is that we really blossom and look really beautiful. How many of you love flowers? Okay, look at that. And there's nothing like smelling the fragrance of a beautiful flower. And that is the idea of where we want to go with stress. Now, the question I want to ask you today is, 20 years from now, how and where do I see myself in terms of my story and in terms of my stress? 20 years. Now, if you're my age and older, you might want to say, 20 years ago, what could I have done differently to affect my stress? But you want to kind of, if 20 years sounds too far, you might want to say next week. How and where do I see myself in terms of my stress next week? It doesn't have to be 20 years. But for those of you who are young, you might want to think, what am I going to be like in 20 years? The first handout I'd like for you to look at is a stress management handout. Now what I did is on the back of this handout, you're going to see my personal stress profile. I would like for you to fill this out at home when you have time, okay? You're going to have a lot of homework in this class if you really want to get a better handle, because you really need to take time with your inner self and take time to think. So what I'm hoping to do is give you those tools so that when you're home, you can really sit back and think and fill out your profile. Now, to help you with your profile, this top sheet is where you're going to get some of the information. For instance, if you're not sure of physical symptoms, you can look on this page and they have multiple symptoms on the first page. If you notice, if you're thinking about emotional, whether you have emotional symptoms or behavioral, there's a list of emotional on this sheet. So that helps you think about the choices that you might want to put under your profile. Another interesting thing about stress is on your first sheet, we have stress-related disorders. Do you see that little square right here? Now, yes, I'll show you, Ray. That's right. If you look at all those illnesses are directly related to stress. Yeah. Yes. Yes. Now, I'm going to talk a little bit, and maybe this is a good time to talk about it. There are some factors, there are some risks that you can't change. Let me see. It's not on this one. All right. You can't change your gender. You can't change your... Right. Okay. All right. You can change it, but the way you were made. You can't change the way you were made, and you can't change your parents. Heredity. You can't change heredity. So when you think of stress, there are certain things you cannot change. You can't change your age. Okay. You can't change your ethnicity. Okay. So those things lay on the bottom floor of your stress, and you have to deal with the things you cannot change. Okay. Now, guess what's next that you can change? Right from that floor that you can't change.
You can change something?
Yeah. Well, you can change it, but guess what is on the baseline of all the things that you can't change, which we talked about age. The next thing is stress. It's the underlying basis. Babies have stress. When they're in utero, they have stress. So this factor is usually very underlining with emotions. And
you're born with it.
Yeah, you are born with it, and it's a fact of life. You have to deal with it, and you can either deal with it positively or negatively. So, stress, when you're looking at illnesses, stress, your stress level, like if you had a stroke or you have diabetes, the underlying level, including emotions, it's going to be way down underneath. Okay? And so, an example of that is, say, you have high blood pressure from smoking. Okay? Your stress, you're going to have to deal with your stress along with maybe stopping smoking. And some of these things are choices. And stress is a choice. How we handle our stress is a choice. We're going to talk about that. Now, relaxation is the opposite of stress. And so if you're not relaxed, you know you're in stress mode. And we can look at some of the things. If you think of what stress does, relaxation is the complete opposite. And so we know what our goal is. Our goal is to recognize and understand where our stress level is, and then to use the things that would help change that. And so you have a little example of that. All right, let's let's go to, we talked a little bit about the root causes, okay? I came across this diagram, I believe at my job, and I just did a workshop on diseases of women of color. And so this chart became very important to me because actually this is not in order. Let me see. It might be in order. Heart attack. Where's heart? Here it is, heart attack. So these are not in order, okay? These are not in order. They're just listing them. Because I think heart attack is number 1 disease, okay? And then I think it pops to cancer. And then respiratory, not chronic lung disease is next. And then it goes down the drain. Now, remember I said you can't change your ethnicity? If you are a Black American, your order might be a little different than this, okay? Or if you're a white American, you know, the number and how it happens. But underneath it all, there's stress, okay?
I didn't really know like that.
Now, I thought this was really interesting. Let's look at root causes. We have low self-esteem and our self-worth. Where do we get that? What age?
I'd say grammar school for my case. I was a Dutch hat in first grade job. That's what got me to the States.
Right. Okay, self-esteem. People usually, I'm not saying that you won't get it when you're 50, but normally, low self-esteem, a child that has that, you know, that's going to affect their stress level. Okay. If you know you are an adult and you have low self-esteem and self-worth, then God is asking you to look at that, okay? Or man, some of these things that I have, they're not necessarily biblically related, but there's a correlation between what the world sees and what the Bible sees. And so as a child of God, self-esteem is very, very important. And because we're holistic, because we're balanced in 3 spheres, you know, our spiritual, God wants us to work on this. Now, if you have these root causes, you're more likely to step into the next stage in these factors. If you have peer pressure and you don't have self-worth and you're not strong enough to say cigarettes are bad for me, when your friends come along and say, hey, how about a cigarette? You more likely will say, okay, peer pressure will become very hard for you, so you might pick up that. You might live in a family where a lot of people smoke, so you might pick it up because everybody in the family smokes, you know? And you might have a mother who smokes and says, do as I say and not as I do, you know? And as soon as you're out of sight, you do exactly what mama had.
Go hide in the woods.
Exactly. Same way with alcohol and substance abuse, economic disparities, they will pull some of this. Where you grow up, lack of information. Nobody ever told you that eating a whole lot of candy is bad for you. You might not have had regular dental. Hopelessness and emotional despair. All of these affect the next group. Now, I just want to make a note here. These factors were picked because of the diseases that follow. You see what I'm saying? There are other factors, there's other causes, but we're looking at the 10 top diseases and what factors affect them and what causes affect them. So as you look at your profile, you have, I think you have this form on this page. So you might want to look at that. When you're looking at your profile at home, you might want to circle some of the things that might stand out for you. In terms of just wanting to take your stress level, think positive about it. You might want to change your lifestyle. Your frustration, you might want to deal with that through education, by understanding. You might want to get support, get help. Physically, you may need a massage to help you relax. You know, so This kind of all works toward helping you move forward. Now this poster here is when you're born, you go through life stages. And so you start with breaking loose as a teenager, okay, and then building a nest in your 20s, looking around in your 30s. By the time you get 30, you want to know, you start looking at your limitations. In your mid-40s, you're in a midlife rebirth. You're aware of mortality. You start looking at things. You start investing in life. When you're young, you think you have your whole life ahead of you, and you're not worried about dying. But as you get older, it becomes a reality for you. You get more deepening wisdom. Usually people find themselves, they understand life, they settle in. It's more about people than things. By the time they hit their later years, in their 60s, twilight years, you're just kind of relaxing. Now, one of the reasons why I put this here is because some people, depending on their disparities, they jump stages, or they're forced to live in stages way beyond their years. I have heard of situations where people are 8 years old and they take care of their whole family. Okay?
Yeah.
All right. That person, that child, is probably experiencing stress way beyond her life stage. So if you get a chance, before you leave, just kind of think whether you're matched up with your life stage or whether you jumped stages. You didn't really have a childhood. My husband is a 4-time kidney recipient, and when I married him in my 30s, because he was sick for 15 years of his life, from the time he was about 15 to 25 to 30, his whole life was basically around hospital and not having help. So when he married me in my 30s, he was like a teenager. He was like, oh, I don't want kids. Oh, I want to get married, but I want to travel. I want to do. I got my health, and he missed the whole part of his life. Now me, I did all that crazy, wild stuff, so I'm ready to settle down. I'm really happy that I found Mr. Adam, and I'm ready to settle down. Probably because I probably overdid my young age, and now I'm ready to settle down. And because he missed that time, he's like, let's see the world, let's go. So this is also a very important part of dealing with stress. It's part of balancing. Now, factors that influence one's perception of stress is your personality. We have a poster here. I may not have put it up. Type A, type B. There's many types of personality charts that we can go over. This is probably the simplest one that everybody understands. Is type A, very competitive, aggressive, hostile, obsessed with time, insecure, always full speed ahead. That's type A. Type B is more relaxed, doesn't rush, free from habits, knows how to relax, rest and relax, and recreation. They're easygoing. So, you can. There are type A people who try to live in a type B world. Okay? And to me, that's the best way for type A. Because when you're type A, it's very hard to break this cycle. But again, you want to focus on the positive. You want to realize that the type A personality, you're more likely to get sick. Okay? Because you just go, go, go. And your body was designed to have enough energy to live your lifestyle, your life. But if you exhaust that internal energy, you can't get it back. So you really want to try to live in a type B. Okay, so what are the health issues related to stress? Narrowing of the arteries, depressed immune system, for women, aggravated PMS, irregular menstrual cycle, increased risk of breast cancer. Breast cancer, by the way, is very high in Connecticut. Very high. We're one of the highest states. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Yes. Higher risks of weak bones, osteopenia, osteoporosis, digestive system, and chronic fatigue. All right. Sure.
The big article was that where they're going back to breast cancer. They do it, they didn't say the amount of alcohol. Bring that back to the big issue that's going on now about that. Women with breast cancer.
Yes. Okay. Breast cancer and alcohol. Okay. And smoking. Yes.
I smoke.
Yes.
My relatives, by my daughter, on my husband's side, all of the women smoke and drink. Every single woman at risk.
But they're
And
talking.
I'm talking a whole family and all the daughters and daughters of the daughters.
But they're talking the alcohol is beneficial.
Yes. Okay. Alcohol is beneficial for not getting it.
Yeah.
There are some studies that they do support. Like he's right. Ray is right. There is a mindset that a little wine every night is very good. Now, the truth about that is the wine comes from grapes, and it is the grapes, it is the antioxidants in the grapes that is, if alcohol has anything, it's because of the grape content. It's not because of the alcohol content. So, but there are people that, I went to the hospital, I went to buy gifts at the hospital, and they serve T-shirts, you know, a wine. Have you seen it? Where you can buy these wine shirts to have wine a day, and it's healthy for you. In the hospital gift shop, really surprising. So that's a big push. All right. No, absolutely. It's not good. Alcohol is not. Yeah, absolutely.
You can't let it control you think of too.
Yes, when
a little bit, like you said.
Well, actually, it's there is a harm. Most people have trouble with what a little bit is. So we know that if something is harmful, it's better to stay away from it totally. And that's the best. Although many of us are on a continuum where we have to continue to surrender and do the best we can. Right now, I just want to entertain some questions before I go to the next stage. We're almost done. Is there any questions? Okay, one of the things I'd like to talk to you about is your mind. Yeah, the
That's my
positive.
subject.
Okay, positive thinking. In your little packet today, you're going to find a little quick, it's a bookmarker, and it's called Think. Okay, when you leave, you'll find it. I'm just going to talk about it a little bit because I want to give you some fun things that I have done in my life, positively in my mind, to help me deal with stress. One of the things, it's called Think. It's an acronym, and it stands for THINK, and the T stands for, is it true? Let's see, here it is, I got it. You're going to find this little card in your gift bag, and it says Think. Now, we find out that stress is something that's learned. So what you want to do is you want to learn and enjoy being positive. And it can be done. It takes a lot of effort, especially when you're stressed out. Sometimes when you get stressed out, you take your mind off of the goal. Okay? But as much as possible, think is it true? The T is for true. Now, this is what you want to say. For those of you who are spiritual, it's based on Philippians 4, verse 8, which is on the back of this card. Whatsoever things are true and just and pure, think on these things. So, if you don't know the Bible scripture, but you want an easy way to remember, my family does this And when you start playing this little game, you'll probably do it too. You'll teach people what think means. And when they're gossiping, all you have to do is say, I would think about that a little bit. You know, all you have to do is say, I'm not thinking. Okay? Because you're breaking one of these things. The game goes, is it true? Is it helpful? Is it inspiring? Is it necessary? And is it kind? It has to be all 5 of these things. If it isn't, you shouldn't say it. Now, I was telling my girlfriend, who I talk a lot, okay? That's what I do.
But I bet I think you did.
I don't know. It depends. So I talk a lot, and so what happens is when you get together with people who talk a lot, sometimes you don't always talk under the thinking principle, okay? So my girlfriend, we were trying not to gossip, and she knew I was trying to practice this, so I kept interrupting her, and she kept interrupting me. So finally she says to me, Rosalind, we don't have anything to talk about. Because we were breaking, you know, it might be true, but is it inspiring? You know, it was always something that wasn't there. So I always think that that's kind of cute, that for those of us who talk a lot, it might quiet us down a little bit. That type A personality, it might, you know, take us back a notch if we follow this principle. Another thing I want to tell you about positive thinking is your body responds in the present moment. Now, this game, I was doing a stress management workshop one time, and I was very depressed. Matter of fact, something said, one way to handle your stress is to do something for other people. So I said, I haven't been doing anything with stress management, and I actually prayed about it, and maybe a week after that, a Baptist church asked me to go do a presentation for their group ladies. So during that time, I said, Lord, I need some new information. So this new game is called I Like. What you do is you say, I like whatever is negative. I like not talking much. I like not spilling things on me. I like drinking water. Now, I used to hate water, okay? And I was trying to do the 8 natural laws, and I wasn't doing very well. But I started using the game I like. When you tell yourself, I like doing something, it puts you in the present moment. And when you're in the present moment, you're more likely to do it. Okay? You're not talking about next week, and you're not in the past. You're in the moment right now. So let me tell you how this game worked. Now, I wasn't always a vegetarian, so I went to Burger King every day. I had hot chocolate. I knew where all the sales were, where all the 99-cent specials were at McDonald's and at Dunkin' Donuts. And on Sunday I had my hot chocolate. So now I'm starting this I like thing. So I get in my car and I go. I used to work first shift. I get to work at 6:30, and all the people on night shift, they used to leave all their food out. And I used to come along and say, "Ooh, that looks good, apple pie, and that looks good." And people would say, "Roz, don't you ever get sick?" And I go, "No, sick? No." Because I could eat a whole half gallon of ice cream in one setting at night. I like driving by Burger King. I like driving by it. I like not eating apple pie at 6:30 in the morning. I like drinking water. I lost 30 pounds. 30 pounds in about a month because I wanted to see whatever I try in stress management, whatever I tell you, I don't want to be somebody that says it doesn't work or I never tried it myself. So I said, I'm going to do the stress management workshop, so I need to try something new and see how it works. I'm going to tell you, you talk about depressed, I was depressed. Remember, that's why I wanted to do something? It changed my mood. I went to work. I was playing I Like, and I couldn't believe how it takes you out of the negative. It takes your stress. I like dealing with my boss who's so negative. Oh yeah? Yeah, I like it. Okay? What you're doing is you're actually relaxing to open up creativity around dealing with something negative. Now when I say I like it, I have to deal with my boss. One of the problems I had was I was always spilling food, okay? Or I would stutter. Like my boss, I had so much pressure with my boss, I would stutter in front of her. And I used to have to go and write what I was going to say to her and rehearse it. That's how nervous she made me. So now that I'm playing I like not stuttering in front of my boss. I like it. Now, for those of you who are spiritual, because it didn't have anything spiritual in it, I said, I like not stuttering in front of my boss in the name of Jesus. Because that's where the power is. Okay? So I played that game in Jesus' name, and I'm telling you, it liberated me. I always wanted to go to another job. I hated my job. The Lord never moved me from that job of pain until I finally was free of it, because there was a lesson He wanted me to learn. And then He took me to a job that was harder than the one I left, even though I couldn't imagine it. But now I have positive stress skills that are going to help me deal with a new position. Now I have another game. This game is from Dr. Nedley. He does depression. Now his game is you have to go 14 days without saying anything negative. 14 days. Okay? Powerful, powerful, powerful. Okay.
And every time you do start to say something negative, you have to start all over again.
That's right. I played this game for like 3 months. I don't ever think I went 14 days. But I learned so much about how I deal with stress. I learned that I'm more likely to say things that I don't like when I'm tired. Okay? Which was a clue for me to get rest. Okay? And you're getting that here here at the center here. Is learning how to do the 8 naturals. The 8 naturals are natural buffers for your stress. So here I am, not saying anything negative. I had a boss, remember I told you I had this boss that always yelled at me and I couldn't have talk straight? Well, I also had another coworker that was always yelling. He was always angry. And if he ever did anything wrong, he was always right. You know those kind of people? They're always right, and they're always in your face, and they've got their fists going. And when you know that you have to go to them with an issue, you think of 5,000 ways to handle it, except for to go to that person. Well, when I was playing this game, sure enough, I'll call him Jim. Jim he was a nurse, I'm a nurse. He works in a different program, but we both share a client. And he wasn't doing, he had to do something from his job's perspective, but he was throwing it on me. He was throwing it on our program. He was refusing to do it. And it had to do with medication and making sure a client got medication. So I'm playing this game, and maybe I'm 4 days into not doing anything negative, and I'm going, oh no, I've got to deal with Jim. So then, I'm going to tell you, I started smiling. I said, for the first time in my life, I don't have to deal with Jim. All I have to do is not be negative. You know, that's all I have to do. So here I go up to Jim. No, but trust me, I was so liberated that day, because here's Jim. You know, he's a bull in the china. He's already, what do you want now? And I said, Jim, we have to talk. And I said, Jim, I can't do this because my shift starts at 5 o'clock and this client needs a med at 4 o'clock and you come on duty at 1 o'clock. So I'm not even in the area when this person needs the med. Oh, you're so lazy. Oh, he called me everything in the book. Why I said it's your responsibility to make sure this person got their med. The bottom line was, I was able to say to Jim, I know you don't like what I'm saying. I could say that. That's not negative. I know you don't like what I'm saying, but it's not my problem to fix. It's not my problem to fix. You might want to talk to your supervisor. I was freed up to be able to be creative, to give him answers. And in this game, it says when you feel like you're going to be negative, don't say anything. And I played this with my children, and they're like, Mom, you're not saying anything. And I said, well, I don't want to say anything negative. And they're like, really? What happened to her? But really, really, really good outcome. Okay? This is doable. You can have fun with it. there's one other thing. I have one more story, and I'm almost up. One more story. You have to take your mind where you want to be. And God, the Bible, Jesus is really, really powerful in giving us self-worth and self-value. So one of the things when you're doing positive thinking, let's say you have low self-esteem. Low self-esteem. Because I have low self-esteem. I always feel like I'm not good enough to do anything. And I mean, I do okay until I think I'm not okay. And then I go back to this poor self-esteem, like nobody likes me. Why don't I have friends?
Nobody wants to listen.
Nobody wants to listen. So God wants to take you out of that, and He already credits you with what you don't think you have. He already gives it to you, and He wants you to step into that. So one of the ways God helped me understand this in stress management was I was reading a book, and they say that you should always visualize yourself as being successful or being good at something, okay? So I said, okay, I'm doing this stress management class again, so now how can I exercise this? Well, on my job, I used to play ping pong on my job. As a nurse, I used to work inpatient in a psych hospital, and so there was always a ping pong table. So I used to play ping pong with another nurse, and she would beat me all the time. Both of us were good players, but she always won. So I said, okay, now I know that this woman always beats me, so I'm going to think positive. I'm going to see myself as a winner. I'm going to hit the ball. I'm never going to miss. I played that woman 15 games. She couldn't win once. She came to me and she said, Rosalind, did you buy a ping pong table and put it in your basement? Are you practicing?
That's amazing.
I absolutely off the chart. Now she wants to know, what are you doing? And I'm like, I don't know. Come on. I'm doing the ping pong. I'm just having a ball. So in my mind, I said to myself, I know why I'm winning. I'm winning because she doesn't see herself. She is not visualizing herself as a winner. And as soon as I tell her my little secret, because she's a better player than I am, she's going to start winning. And the Lord said, tell her. Because it's not about who really wins.
Right.
It's share the word, share the power of if you're down and you're out, God can give you the strength to motivate yourself to move forward and get out of that rut. So here I am, I told her, I said, you want to know how I'm winning? I visualize myself hitting the ball every time you hit it. I see myself going after it, going for whatever it is, high, low, I can match it. And I'm doing it. My game is higher. So sure enough, here she goes. And first game, she started winning. And then I was back on the losing streak. But the point was made, and I said that's a lot of power.
Yeah, it affects your life. It's a game.
Yeah, but these are little mind games of positive stress relievers that can help you take all this wordy stuff that kind of lays the foundation. But when you take your little gift home, there's a lot of things in there. There's a lot of good things in there. There's a book to teach you how to strengthen your body, and it starts very simple where you're at, and then every 2 weeks it'll add a new exercise. And then if you're a walker or a runner, but I don't run, but I use the same principles for running as I would walking. Okay, there's loofah in there, and there's soap, natural soap to clean yourself, to make you feel good, and there's a light, a candle on the table, please pick it up. And there's all kinds of good stuff for you as you begin your journey. I want you to close your eyes. I came across this about 10 years ago, and two things. See, these are posters. This poster here, this piece of paper, I want you can use something fancy, something beautiful, but today I want you to start thinking of something that's in your mind. I've had about 5 of them. Some kind of saying that becomes uniquely yours, that no matter how stressed out, you can remember it. For instance, one of mine was, fake it till you make it. Fake it till you make it. That got me through a couple of years. And then another one is, in every difficulty, there's an opportunity. And in every opportunity, there is a difficulty. Write down, find something, a Bible scripture, something that you can memorize in your mind. And whenever you're down, you can say that to get you through the moment. I want you to close your eyes in closing. And I'm going to read this, I am special. Okay? And I want you to think of yourself. Because everyone in this room, my story is special. Everything in it makes you special. And I want you to think about yourself and know that God has really done something powerful by creating you. And just the fact that you're here makes you special. And I'm going to end with this. The author is unknown. I am special. In all the world, there's nobody like me. Since the beginning of time, there has never been another person like me. Nobody has my smile. Nobody has my eyes, my nose, my hands, my voice. I am special. No one can be found who has my handwriting. Nobody anywhere has my taste. My taste for food or music or art. No one sees things just as I do. In all of time, there's been no one who laughs like me, no one who cries like me, and what makes me laugh and cry will never provoke identical laughter and tears from anybody else, ever. No one reacts to my situation just as I would react. I am special. I am the only one in all of creation who has my set of abilities. Oh, there will always be somebody who is better at one of the things I am good at. But no one in the universe can reach the quality of my combinations of talents, ideas, abilities, and feelings. Like a room full of musical instruments, some may excel alone, but none can match the symphony sound when all are played together. I am a symphony. Through all of eternity, no one will ever look, talk, walk, think, or do like me. I am special. I am rare, and in all rarity, there is great value. Because of my great rare value, I need not attempt to imitate others. I will accept, yes, celebrate differences. I am special, and I am beginning to realize it is no accident that I am special. I am beginning to see that God made me special for a very special purpose. He must have a job for me that no one else can do as well as I. Out of all the billions of applicants, only one is qualified. Only one has the right combination of what it takes. That one is you.